Hey girl, hey! Welcome back to According to SYRAJA, a drag queen's take on gay shit. This is your girl SYRAJA, and I don't really know what to call this. I don't know what to call this one. I'm taking God into my secret closet. I'm gonna touch the hem of his garment. He's gonna be like fire shot up in my bones. Behind the veil, where it's just me and God, I'm gonna get down on my knees and lay my burdens down. So before I get into this topic, I do want to shout out NYPS and their network, which broadcasts original LGBTQ content, and Soso Studios for filming this.
What did you go through?
I went through, well, besides being actually kicked out of the house and bullied and having to fight my way through almost every day of high school, I went through just the emotional distress of wanting to be celebrated. I wanted to be celebrated as a teenager. All the good things that I was doing. I was really smart in school. I was winning speech competitions. I was really ambitious. I had a lot of things that I just wanted to do. I was really talented. And I felt that my peers who were non-gay were celebrated and I wasn't, because no matter what I did, everything always circled back to, but you're gay. And I felt that my sexuality was this thing that just, what people use to just kind of, I don't know, like, they just kind of put that up as a barrier in my face. Like, you can't go any further, you can't do anything else because you're gay. And I remember being so passionate about God, and to the point I actually wanted to be in the ministry. I don't know if I ever told you that. Did I?
Weren't you in a ministry? Like, weren't you like choir boy?
No, I was, but I mean, as in I wanted to be a member of the clergy. Like, I wanted to be a pastor. And
you can still be a pastor.
I will
Just
not.
like this.
I will not. I will not.
What stopped you from wanting to be a clergyman or a clergywoman?
The most fabulous clergywoman. But well, there's two things. One, it was that I remember having a conversation with one of the deacons in the church, and we had this youth Sunday thing once a month where it was just for the whole week. The young people got to express what it is that they were experiencing in God. You know, some of them got to get up and, you know, do like a little excerpt from the Bible and kind of share little, you know, revelations, whatever, you know, just, it was, the whole week was just youth week. And so there's one time I wanted to share something that was on my heart that I was just kind of reading in the scriptures and I just kind of felt really strongly about. And I was talking to this particular deacon about it, and I had asked the pastor. I was super excited. They were just like, oh yeah, okay, we'll get back to you, we'll let you know. And then they never did. And it was weeks later that this particular deacon and I were talking, and he said, do you remember the request that you put in to speak? And I said, yeah, whatever happened to that? And he said, well, we talked about it. The entire pastor's council talked about it and decided not to let me do it because they were afraid of what people would say if they walked into the church and saw someone like me standing in the pulpit. And
What did you think that meant?
I knew what it meant. I knew that I was not the most masculine. I knew I was a little brighter color than all the other boys. I knew that. It was told to me at every point of my life, so I knew exactly what he meant. And it felt very, I don't even want to say it hurt. I can't even put a word to that emotion that I felt. I just felt crushed. I was like, seriously? Like, that's just, the only word that could come to mind was like, seriously? I'm at a point in my life where I need the most guidance. And I don't have all the answers, but I have a ton of questions. And I felt like this was the perfect opportunity for me to share and to be pointed in the right direction, you know, to just feel like, okay, my life is actually going somewhere. Like, you know, my mindset toward my sexuality at that time was I knew it was wrong. I believed it was wrong because of what my household taught me. And I felt very strongly that I could overcome it, that I could somehow be converted. And it just made me, I just felt like by me doing, the more I did in the church and the more I did for the church, the closer I got to this deliverance, as we called it, you know. I felt that if I stayed at prayer meetings, if I, you know, joined the worship team and I stayed busy with that, if I, you know, became a junior minister, if I did all of this stuff, that somehow, somewhere along the way, I would be delivered. At least even if it was just me forgetting about my sexuality and becoming so immersed in God. And when he told me that I couldn't do it, that I couldn't speak, it just made me feel defeated. I was like, I'm really trying, you know? And I felt like nobody was on my side. I felt that no one understood me, that no one even took the time to understand me, but they looked at me and they saw that I was different. But instead of reaching out, instead of trying to help me, to mentor me like they did to all my other peers, they literally treated me like I was this grown adult that should know better, and that I was just the most disgusting thing they've ever seen. I would hear, like before I joined the worship team, like I would sit toward the back of the church sometimes, and I was really close to the usher board, and I would hear them make slick comments, and I would overhear conversations that other people in the church would have. Some people were even bold enough to say certain things to my face. You know, that's an abomination, and why are you playing with God? Like, you need to get right. You need to get right. Why are you playing with God? And I wouldn't say that I was perfect. I mean, I was any other teenager. I had my moments where I felt super goody two-shoes. I was on the right track, and I had my moments where I fell short, and I was experimental, and I was riding in cars with boys. I had those moments, but I don't think that was unique to me. Every other kid at 15, 16 experiments with sex. The difference is when a non-gay kid experiments with sex, everyone understands. Everyone says, you know, that's expected. It's wrong, but it's expected. When I experiment with sex, no one reaches out. You know, there was no ministry for the gay person who was trying to find salvation. There was always just get right, because you know that's an abomination. And after a while, it felt less. At first it was very, I expect this, I know this, my mom raised me on the Bible, I know better. And I was just doing everything I could to follow the rules. After a while, it kind of felt like a burden. It felt like walking in a wilderness and not really getting anywhere. I was just getting exhausted and tired, but I couldn't look at my life and see the fruit of what I was quote unquote working for. I didn't see myself advancing in ministry. I didn't see anything happening for me. And I think the biggest thing for me was when I graduated high school and it was time for me to go to college. I majored in theology. I picked, that was my major when yeah, it was my major. And I was looking for schools. Ultimately, I went to the school that was founded by my church, by my denomination at least. And that was the year that I really knocked it out of the park. Academically, in extracurriculars, like I really knocked it out of the park. Not to toot my own horn, but I looking back at that year, I really did that. I won a national speech competition. I was invited to speaking engagements all across my country. I was doing it. You know, I was in the newspaper, I was featured on the news, I was on radio stations, I was everywhere. It was Chevron. It was the Texaco's road safety speech competition. So I had to travel and talk about road safety, and just, it sounds kind of corny now, but to me at that time was a huge accomplishment. And I remember one of my aunts going around talking about me. And the only thing that she could say about me, and the only thing I ever heard back about myself, was that sissy faggot. And they would talk about my mom, and they would say, wow, she spent all that money. One of my aunts literally said, wow, she spent all that money to put him through private school, and she's spending all this money to send him off to college, and he's gay. And that was the mindset in my culture about gay people. Like, it was like, no matter what you did, no matter how amazing of a person you are, the simple fact that you are gay trumps that. And you are made to look at that and see only that. It's kind of like someone putting you in timeout. So for the next 18 years of your life, you just stand here in this corner and think about what you are. And it felt like punishment. And I felt like I couldn't live. I could never thrive. No matter what I did, I could never thrive. I want to acknowledge that there are people just like me that are going through what I went through. And I just want to relate my experience to them, because I wish that I had someone that I could have talked to that could relate to me when I was 15, 16, 17, and going through all of that I wouldn't have felt so alone in the process. So that was according to SYRAJA. Remember to follow me on Instagram at _SYRAJA_ and Facebook SYRAJA, all caps, because I'm a big fucking deal.